once you have discovered that there may be heterogeneity in the response to a treatment, then there are three ways of dealing with that. The first strategy is to simply ignore it, like we have done so far, just estimate the average treatment effect. The second strategy is to allow the treatment effect to vary across subgroups in your data by including a so-called interaction term. And you do all of this ex post, so after you have collected your data. A third strategy is to foresee this and to already integrate this in your design. So say that you have a randomized control trial, you actually randomize within subgroups, so that within the subgroups you are sure that you actually have a comparable control group and can really do a test for a treatment effect within subgroups. Now let's look at the first strategy, simply ignoring heterogeneity. So in that case you simply report the average treatment effect, so that is the alpha 1 in our previous equations, but you should realize that this average treatment effect is actually equal to the weighted average of the treatment effect across subgroups. And so if we look at our example of our treatment for job seekers, and let's say that the effect for the not so happy job seekers is alpha 1 prime and the effect for the happy job seekers is alpha 1 double prime. And let's assume that both groups are similarly large, which makes sense if you do a randomized control trial. So in that case, the average treatment effect is half times the effect for the not so happy clients plus half times the effect for the happy clients. Now, we know that in this example the effect for the not so happy clients is 0, so 0.5 times 0 plus 0.5 times the effect for the happy, i.e. that's what remains. So your average treatment effect is actually 50% of the effect for the happy clients, i.e. what you find is that the effect is relatively small and it may well be statistically insignificant. Now, if you ignore any heterogeneity, then this has obviously consequences. And the first consequence is that you may not be able to reject the null hypothesis of no treatment effect, even though there is an effect for subgroups. Like in our example, there is an effect for the relatively happy clients, but based on your average treatment effect, you actually conclude that you find no evidence of an effect. So that may lead you to not adopt this treatment, even though you may want to go ahead with the treatment for a certain subgroup. And that's the second cost of ignoring heterogeneity. It does not allow you to target. So once you know that the heterogeneity works for a certain subgroup, you may target your resources for that specific group, right? Or you may adopt the way that Mr. Kamp works, if I remember well, or you may target your resources to those clients with a relatively high life satisfaction already. No? Now, the third consequence of ignoring heterogeneity is that you may miss signals of why the treatment works. If you see that the treatment works when it is administered by Mr. Kamp and it doesn't work when it is administered by Mrs. Janssen, then this may tell you something about why the treatment works. That apparently there's something that Mr. Kamp does that makes this treatment effective. And similarly, if you find that the treatment works for those with a relatively high life satisfaction and not for those with relatively low life satisfaction, this may lead you to further investigate on why this treatment works. So you get a better idea of the mechanisms behind the treatment effect.